Alright. What's up, everybody, and welcome back to not just a regular episode of Mape the Ape. For those who don't know, this is Maples, the man who was the #1 baboon on the North American ladder. But he has come up with a build so disgusting. He has literally posted a Reddit thread called Farming Top GMs with OP Carrier Build. And he posted a bunch of replays of him destroying a bunch of all the top players on the North American ladder. And this is amazing because carriers are not meant to be good in TVP until like late game, and even then it's like hit or miss, right? But he has apparently invented a 2-base carrier build that has just been tearing up nerds and ripping them apart. So we've got a few games I want to cast, and we're going to see the progression from players first encountering it and obviously not being, not expecting it, to them actually kind of expecting it and starting to try to blind counter it, and how he adapts. Now, first things first, guys, I have written the build in the Book of Filth. So if you guys want to copy along, go down to the Book of Filth, give it a click, !Filth 2 if you're in my chat. Book of Filth number 2 has got a write-up. However, his opening's a bit different every game. So I wrote it up based on, I don't know if it was this game or a different one. It was one where he did a Zealot Pressure. And I then wrote a big list of variations because he changes his opening every single game a little bit to make this build work. And he had a whole bunch of thoughts about, like, you really need to be switched on. He said, this isn't just a follow the build and win the game sort of thing. It really is a little bit more detailed than that. So let's just talk you guys through the builds, and then I'll share some more of his thoughts about this, because I thought he had some really interesting thoughts that lined up with it. So you go for a nice early probe scout. You've gone Gateway, Gas, Cybercore, Nexus. He's going to get a Zealot out to do a bit of harassment across the map, and he's up against a double gas build this game. So that's going to be interesting, right? His opponent isn't going to give him much opportunity. Most of his games, I've noticed, if they do the high ground build like this, the double gas, he will cancel the Zealot and not build it. But in this game, he's still going to let that finish, come across the map, Chrono and Adept. And one thing I didn't point out, but he put 3 workers on gas the moment his gas finished. So he pulled workers off minerals to prioritize that gas mining because he feels he needs to bank up the gas, as obviously carriers are insanely expensive. Stargate goes down. So notice he's delayed Warp Gate to get the Stargate earlier. He'll then go for probably second Adept, then Warp Gate, I believe, is the order he'll go for. Let's see. Maybe not. Reaper is coming in. 1 Adept, as long as he keeps it at home, can defend this. There we go. Second Adept comes in, and he should be starting Warp Gate, because he always goes Warp Gate, and that's obviously just part of a normal build. Now, seeing no Warp Gate there, 4GG should know this is a Stargate build. He does end up remembering to start Warp Gate, which is good. For those who don't know 4GG, this man was a Brood War StarCraft 1 champion. He was a DreamHack champion. He won a lot of stuff. He was a very good pro gamer and was one of the first to really move overseas, was a big part of Team Millennium in France for a long time, and has been streaming pretty much 24/7 since he got back from the military. He's a menace on the North American ladder. You play so many games against him. He has, I think, like 4 times as many games as just about anyone else on the North American ladder. Notice, though, look at this counterattack pressure, but slight mistake here from Maples. Maples does lose a probe there before his shield battery's up. On the other hand, though, he's denying the command center. So that command center trying to go up on the expansion, waiting with the Zealot till that happened, then coming with the Zealot and the Adept was a nice move. Unfortunately, though, he is going to have to run away. The Cyclone is getting some really nice pickups for 4GG, and 4GG is going second and third barracks, which I think seems naturally to be one of the better plays against this. If you're playing 3 racks, you're going to have a lot of Marine production available. That's going to be very powerful. The only problem is 4GG is building a siege tank, which is not going to be good up against flying units. 4GG still macroing up. And notice here, Maples is just probing. He went back to chronoing probes after chronoing the couple of Adepts out. And there's games where he's chronoed probes a little bit earlier as well and mixed it up. Now, next things is from somewhere between 3:30 to 4 minutes 15, he will take gases on the natural. So he should drop those right now. Especially with that Reaper going down, his opponent doesn't have any scouting, but it looks like he was busy on the other side. His Oracle's tagged some units to see where that is. And the double gas goes down here. A little late on that compared to how he normally does it. But as I said, he's a fluid player. He's changing it up every single game. Now, this is where things get really foul and why this build is so genius. Because he builds a Void Ray or 2, which shuts down a lot of Terran pressures. If they come with a single medevac and don't notice an overcharged Void Ray, their day is completely ruined. Not only that, but Terran doesn't scout at this stage in the game. This is the point where, oh, it's a Stargate expand, no worries. He'll be either going for Colossus or he's taking a third base and going Charge Zealot. Either way, just making 3 racks bio tank. Nice, solid game plan. Look at that. The Adepts actually shade in under the tank so it couldn't shoot them. It's got a minimum firing range and actually focusing down the Marines. Fantastic trading here from Maples. He turns his Oracle on the Cyclone being distracted. This is a common move that he loves to do with this build. He distracts at the front of the Adepts. Often the Cyclone locks onto that, runs in, gets some damage. Not a massive amount, But those adepts weren't that useful, and this just slows 4GG down on getting a critical mass of Marines, which is the most important thing. Behind it, the fleet beacon, the second Stargate's down. And remember, Terran doesn't scout that much at this stage of the game. They usually just go for the 3 barracks out of starport, start moving forward with whatever their plan is. And it doesn't really matter until you're like, oh, is it Storm or Colossus? Have you got mass zealots? Maybe around 7 minutes. 4GG is committing to a Marine tank push right now. Now, there's not much out. There's 2 Void Rays. He's building shield batteries at the front. Maples knows what's happening. He saw no starport. He saw no gas on the natural. He realizes this is a very aggressive build. Oracle goes in, manages to get 1 SCV, make it 2. Can he get a 3rd one? And yes, he can. Very nice damage. That Oracle always pinning his opponent's back, getting damage. But unfortunately, it looks like he's going to go for a 3rd base. That is not good. He doesn't see the army right there. Please don't build a Nexus. Don't do it. Okay. 4GG is going to clean that up. The pylon and that probe will go down. 4GG is going to move to the front. But if he goes too deep, the Void Rays, if they can fight in range of battery overcharge, they'll kill those tanks so fast. Nice scan for 4GG. He's got stim and shields, but he's only got 8 Marines and a Cyclone. With battery overcharge, 4GG has to pull away. Little does he realize there's 2 carriers on the way right now. I mean, you got to realize something's up when there's Void Rays out. 3 Void Rays as well? But what's the response? 4GG says, let's build medevacs, let's swap off and start building Widow Mines. Much more Marine focus for him right now. He's getting +1 weapons, but he still hasn't dealt with that Oracle. And Maples, the annoying bastard that he is, every single time his opponent's brain is kind of breaking and they're going, why are you building Void Rays at over 6k MMR? This doesn't make any sense. This is so stupid. What is this dumb plan that you're doing? And Terrans get confused. Remember, guys, Terrans only have 3 brain cells between them. Don't get me wrong, I'm a Terran player too. There's something that happens when you queue up ladder as Terran. You don't have a brain anymore. And you see something that your opponent shouldn't have, like a Void Ray, and you're like, why are you building that in this matchup? It doesn't, You don't have a pre-planned response. You start to panic. You start to freak out. And right now, 4GG is Jerry. He's trying to start a fire in his brain. He's got his little flint brain sparks. He's trying to make a fire. He's like, what do I even do here? And you know what? Mass Marines, Widow Mines, medevacs, it's not a bad idea. But you can tell he doesn't have a 3rd command center. His work account's been severely diminished with those 11 SCV kills. And denying the opponent's 3rd is good, but if you don't have your own 3rd base coming up, that is kind of scary. Now, this is where Maples, basically, remember guys, he said, every early game's a bit different. I never know if I want to make extra adepts or when to take my gases, and I've got to be very reactive and really play every game a little bit different based on the situation. Well, in this game, he's decided the situation calls for +1 plasma shields on a forge. That might be the dumbest thing I've ever seen. There is no way that it is actually worth the investment, but the fact that he's memeing with that on 2 base, with his carrier build is amazing. He's also starting +2 air weapons, zealots, cannons, batteries. 4GG should not be fighting into this, but remember that Terran brain, it hurts a little bit. He's going to attack into the carriers and the batteries. The Colossus, the carriers and the Void Rays are fighting all at once. The Marine count's getting diminished. If those Marines all get taken down, he's going to get overwhelmed. 4GG attacks into the cannon battery. Because remember, guys, the Widow Mines actually kill the Void Rays almost. One of them goes down, one of them very close. But remember, guys, Terrans, they do struggle sometimes. They go, you have strong defensive position, me shove into it. Urgh. I can't believe Maples is getting away with +2 air weapons and +1 plasma shields. On 2 base, this is ridiculous. But if you ever kill an army on your side of the map, if you ever just get just enough damage on the Marines to take them down, you immediately counterattack. Because Terran took a long time to build that army, and remember, carriers can rebuild interceptors on the front line. They've all refilled their interceptor load, and Maples, like any young Protoss with a full load, is ready to unleash it. Look at that, he attacks the rocks to get all the interceptors out, and then he throws them all at once. 4GG should absolutely be running away and gathering his units, but he stims at the interceptors. I don't think that's the right play, 4GG. He does take down 1 Void Ray, almost gets a 2nd one. He's still going after that Void Ray, but he does have to tap out. Keep in mind, Maples was, yes, he was building a corner base behind this because Maples' brain, good. This is basically trying to pull off the dirty. Your Oracle has to stay alive and be annoying. You got to get those Void Rays just to keep you safe a little bit. Try to get to the carriers, and from there, sometimes he'll go straight for a 3rd, straight for a 4th base. Other games, it's like cannon battery everywhere. Notice he did build like a cannon up in the main. Because 4G was so aggressive, you can tell he's been dropped a lot before, so he actually builds cannons and batteries sometimes, preparing if he knows his opponent likes to do a lot of drop play. So like, you can imagine in this game, you're like, haha, I snuck by. You get in there, there's like a cannon and a battery, or like 2 cannons and a battery, and you're like, why? What the hell? What is this stupid style this Protoss player is playing? It's It's got to be very upsetting for these Terrans. All right, guys, next game, we've got a game against Epic in the bottom left side, representing Sidestorm Gaming. Epic is a 6.3k masterful Terran player, and Maples in the top right, who is, what do we call Maples? Like a part-time pro gamer, full-time memer? I don't know what we call Maples. Maples is basically the professional mascot of the North American ladder, and yes, of course, the native creature to the Americas, the baboon. You see lots of those out there on the prairies, you know, out there in, back in the day, they were a big problem on the Oregon Trail as well, I heard. You know, those baboons, man, they'd come and steal people's foods. Anyways, let's talk about Maple's points on this strategy that he's shared with me. First things first, guys, scouting is very important with the Oracle. He says, look, sometimes I'm able to scout a fast 3-rack Cyclone opener, so I know defending the third is going to be a way more difficult compared to if they're doing 1-1-1, just barracks factory starport, I can take the third base. But he's like, look, if they're going for the 3-racks build like that last game, I know I've got to be way more kind of defensive and stuff. Like that last game we saw cannons and batteries, right? Not only that, he says, playing this style forces you to not just play on autopilot. Each early game is different. Every single game is different. Do you defend the main with cannons and batteries? Do you build cannons and batteries up there? Do you try to take a quick third base? Do you counterattack with 2 Void Rays when they're trying to pressure you and try to harass them? There's a lot of diversity. Every game feels different in its own way. I'm also not perfect. I'm sure you guys can probably see many ways that I could improve the build, says Maples. You could even perfect it yourself. But I will say, MaxPax likes it. That's right, guys. Maples went over the replays of this with MaxPax. They had a chat about it, and MaxPax said, I actually really like this build. It's actually really good. It's got the goddamn MaxPax stamp of approval, and that says a lot if you ask me. So that's going to be bloody awesome, man. All right, guys, Epic is going 2-racks Reaper here in the main base. 2-racks Reaper is interesting. Obviously, it's not good versus carriers, but it is, because he's going to go 2-1-1. He'll be building a reactor and a tech hub. He'll have plenty of Marines, so I actually think this is a pretty decent opening, and we'll see how it goes. Now, Maple scouted in. His probe now hiding on that right side of the map. He's just checking for proxies right now, because he saw a missing gas, but didn't see an attempt to take a command center at the normal timing. So Maple's now getting into depth, going to go for that Stargate. Once again, he saturated his gas very early, and this Reaper is just scouting for proxies. It's going to be the standard 3 Reaper pressure. This is what you do with this 3 Reaper build, guys. You basically look around for proxies, and then your 3rd Reaper pops out, you join up, you go across the map and kill as many probes as you can. There we go, Tech Lab builds there. We should see a reactor go down there when he hits 50 minerals. There we go. And already a 3rd barracks. So he's actually going to follow up with a 3 barracks play, which means faster stem, faster shields, and even more Marine production. I actually think this is really hard to deal with, and Maples is probably going to have to show maybe a corner base or something like that to deal with this. Because how the hell do you deal with a big 3-racks pressure? Arguably, it's a very slowed down 3-racks pressure because the Reaper opening and the slowed down command center. Looks like the Adepts just shaded out, which means there's nothing at home. The Reapers are going to come in. Oh no, Maples, he just started his Oracle as well. The Reapers are being very paranoid though. Oh, Epic thinks his Adepts are at home. He thinks they're coming down the ramp, so he pulls away. He's like, haha, 2 probes and I escape. No. Oh my god, he could have got so much more damage. Epic. Oh, there's feels when you try to play safe and you play yourself. Bad mistake there. Epic's going to lose another SCV if he's not careful. Does manage to get it out of range just barely. The Reapers go back in, but now the Oracle's out. Oh my god, Maples wins the bloody lottery, guys. This is the power of being a high-risk, high-reward Protoss. Only 2 more probes went down. That could have been way worse. You might think 4 probes is terrible, but this command center is not finished. It's at 98%, and it just can't quite get there. And Epic's got to be quite annoyed. Now, as these next few Marines come out, he can push these Adepts back, but he obviously doesn't want to trade too early. That's a little bit of damage, but he takes a bit as well. Those Adepts will heal. Great micro by Maples to slow this down. It's time to shove down this ramp. You can see Epic wants to wait for the Shade to run out before he does it. The Oracle's here as well. Adepts and Oracle could join up for this fight. Gonna have to focus the Oracle if possible. Oh, I think he's gonna dive on it. He's got a 3rd Adept about to arrive. Yeah, you know Maples is gonna go for it. He groups the Adepts so they shade in all at once. And look at that, he even delays the shade to only show it at the last second to give him less time to respond. Maples, you dirty boy. But doesn't actually go for the Marines. He goes after the SCVs. That's interesting. The Oracle dancing in and out. The Adepts are gonna go after the Marines. The Oracle goes for it. Notice he's very careful. He doesn't care about losing the Adepts, but he always wants to keep that Oracle alive. Remember, that Oracle is the GOAT. That is the Serral Oracle right there. That thing got so much damage in the previous game, and he's actually built a 2nd and now a 3rd Oracle. I don't think he even knew it was 3-racks, guys, but this is actually good. Because against 3-racks and killing those early Marines, he'll now have enough laser beams to kill the rest of the Marines. And Epic, seeing the second Oracle, wisely pulls back. Otherwise, he would lose all of his units on that side of the map. Behind this, fleet beacon's on the way. He's got the 3rd and 4th gas. The probe count is not looking that great. He's only got 9 probes on the natural. But up 7 workers on Epic, and the Oracle comes in for some more damage. Maple's just non-stop with this, chucking these beautiful peanut buttery, chocolatey Reese's Pieces in there. It's kind of funny because, oh, watch out. Oracle does go down there. I was going to talk about peanut butter sludge after watching that plumbing video last week in the subathon. But anyways, we'll talk about that later. It's kind of gross. Stasis Trap, Stalker, Adept, and a Shield Battery doing what they can as well. And guys, we've got the first carrier on the way. That's right. Where's the second Stargate, you might wonder? Well, this early game was messy. They both took damage. He felt he had to build extra oracles, so he slowed down the second Stargate. This is the fluid nature of a player who lets their instincts take over. That's what I love about Maples. There's lots of scouting, interacting, and just letting his kind of feeling take him through the game. This is friggin' awesome, because I wouldn't have thought to do that, but he's like, yeah, let's get +1 air weapons, let's build a carrier, and then we can build a forge and a second Stargate. Double Oracle getting ready for a run by in the main. He's keeping Epic's economy down. Epic is so desperate to push that he's not defending his mineral line. Epic dropping Trow. Oh, those Oracles quick to take advantage. They take out the Starport SCV and a bunch of these SCVs mining as well. Uh-oh, he's going to lose one. Maybe 2. Oh, no! Good micro by Epic. Epic finally gets revenge. He's way down on the workers, but he's got a good army. Problem is, no medevacs just yet. The first 2 are going to be starting momentarily. First one starts off, second one immediately. I don't know. Maybe you guys can commentate whatever we're seeing right here outside the Terran base. It's the only way I can describe it. Much like plasma shields in the previous game, this man is trolling pro gamers on the ladder. I don't even... How is he? He got plasma shields. He got away with plasma shields in the last game. He's now building a forward nexus. Now, this is 2 things, guys. This is a two things nexus. This is both a corner base that's hidden, and it is a offensive recall nexus. So what happens, right? Remember the previous game against 4G? If he kills an army on his side of the map, the counterattack's very hard for Terran to stop. You know what makes it even harder to stop? If you recall your carrier army across the map for the counterattack. Maples is such a sick puppy. This man is turtling up with batteries. He doesn't have any cannons down yet. I think he probably needs some, dude. He might get overwhelmed if these units just stim in. And he's basically saying, just survive on 2 bases, because I know I can't defend a 3rd out here from this massive bio. And then I'll start probing up. I have a shield battery there, because why not? And if I can defeat this army, I'll recall across the map. This is amazing. It's cheaper than a mothership. Chat's pointing out they are absolutely correct. And the carrier's 1 sentry, 1 stalker with a stasis trap underneath it, even though it's expiring. Yeah, second sentry is a good idea. I'm like, if you don't have 2 force fields to block the ramp, I feel this is kind of scary. But with force fields to split the army, easy peasy. Cannons and batteries going down. Epic right now is like, what am I playing against? Why a Protoss player is so stupid? But he's scouting. He's checking the corners. Very smart. Epic has realized at this point, guys, that he understands his opponent. He also sees this setup at home and goes, I know your language. Maple says, and Epic says, yeah, you got a corner base. I know what baboons do. They take corner bases pretty much every time. He tries to use a hallucination to drag the Widow Mine into the army. Did you guys see that? He was trying to drag the Widow Mine onto Epic's army with a bloody hallucinated Phoenix. This man is all about the highlight reel. We are watching a Harlem Globetrotters Protoss right now, and even though he's losing his Nexus to a double drop, he's actually cleaning up all the medevacs and a lot of that army. That's going to allow him to counterattack anyway. Even though he loses the Nexus, he says, haha, it was a distraction Nexus. Now I get to counterattack with +2 carriers on the way anyway. Problem, he's way oversaturated. Doesn't have any way to recall his probes, so he's going to have to move out and start building some Nexus. And the thing is, there's still 24 Marines with 6 medevacs. They've got +1. I don't think that's enough carriers, maybe, to take it out. I do think after these next medevacs, he's got 6. He should be building Vikings. He's going for 8 medevacs. I don't think he thinks it's mass carrier. I think he's expecting a ground swap, and he just wants to be able to stim. Marines can beat carriers, but right now, that's 36 supply of carriers. It's only 29 supply of Marines. You need to actually have similar supply. These are capital ships. You can't be undersupplied against them. And look at this. They're going to dive in the main base. Now, notice, once they get all the interceptors out, He's not launching them. He's taking too long. Bit of miss micro. Now, a bit of micro, guys. They have 8 range. They can only launch the interceptors initially if they're within 8 range of the target. But once the interceptors are out, they can throw it at anything within 12 range, anything within the 12 leash range. And only when they pull back beyond 12 range will the interceptors be forced to recall to the carrier where they have to launch again. But look at the way he's using the barracks as a launching point right here to get all the interceptors out so that he can throw them on top of the Marines all at once. And he's even moving the carriers in to tank for the interceptors. For those who don't know, carriers now have a higher attack priority than interceptors. So even if he hold positions the Marines, if you move carriers in range, they will change targets on their own to attack the carrier over the interceptors, which is so annoying for Epic because the way you fight with Marines, he actually has to hold position, and if the carriers move forward, he needs to stutter step away from the carriers to try to keep them out of range of the Marines. And Maplez is just throwing the interceptors over and over, letting them rebuild in this corner like an absolute dirty boy. Behind it, cannons, batteries, and more carriers. He's got +2 weapons finished as well. And look, he can just hang in this dead space. He's trying to build 2 more starports and go into Vikings in the near future is Epic. But it's so tough because he doesn't have those Vikings out yet. And Vikings are only really good once you get a sizable number. He's going to go for a quad drop counterattack, but the carriers are going to go back in, which means he doesn't have as many Marines here. Oh, Maplez is going to go for the fight. He's going to go for the fight. The Marines go forward. Notice he's trying to stutter step away, but the buildings are kind of blocking him up right now. Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh my god. Maplez, you are so disgusting. Stop it. He's already dead. Stop it, man. Stop it. Oh my god. Anyone who didn't catch what the screaming was about, just go back and rewind. I'm not even going to say what it was. You have to watch it to believe it. Oh my god. WTF is, yeah, I think that's the appropriate response. Alright guys, well guess what? It's been a few weeks since Maplez came up with this build and started torturing players. They all know about it now and they know how to counter it. So of course it's not going to keep working at pro level. Or isn't it? Or is it? That's what I asked Maplez yesterday when I was like, hey, this build doesn't work anymore, right? They just stopped building siege tanks, right? And kind of stopped taking so much damage from the Oracle. And he's like, oh, no. I think it's pretty solid. I went over it with max packs and I also have a variation. I have a variation. I'm like, okay, show us your variation. So he sent me this replay, and I delayed making the video until I got this one. He sent me a bunch of replays, but I chose to cast this one because it did look like it had the most promise. I mean, the fact that he's playing Vindicta, fastest Terran in the world in terms of APM, maybe fastest player in the world. He has a crazy fast APM. He's also been streaming a lot, doing a lot of content, and having a lot of fun. But yeah, Vindicta's in the top left, and he's played against this build a bunch. So we're going to see how Maplez adapts this after a few weeks, because it took me a few weeks from Maplez first telling me about this build to really getting to do my research on it and actually making this video, as I was very busy with the subathon. So I was like, surely they just make Marine Mine. You're going to struggle with it. Maybe you can get the interceptors to drag friendly fire Widow Mines on the Marines, but if they've got good micro, that's very hard to actually pull off. It's not reliable, right? Surely this is like not going to be solid at all. But yeah, apparently Maplez has a few different like ways of mixing it up. He's already talked about how his early game is very fluid and kind of changes game to game. He cancels the Zealot, guys. He canceled the Zealot there to make the Nexus. So it looks like he's moved away from the Zealot pressure. He's not as focused on that, especially, I guess, seeing an SCV scout. He's like, yeah, let's make sure that doesn't block my base. Let's make sure that if we go with Zealot and he sees it building, like if the SCV goes in, sees you building the Zealot, the Reaper will just intercept it. And it is going to be a 1-Rax expand up against that Nexus. So pretty standard openings on both sides. Second gas is on the way. And notice he's got a lot of gas saved up. He can immediately chrono boost an Adept. Reaper's going to come out here. Vindicta did go for an SCV scout. I think he really respects Mr. Reese's pieces. Realizes he's a cheesy boy and is not going to get caught off guard. He's checking around for proxies even outside of the main base. That's interesting. He's going to try to jump in. Stargate does go down. First Adept on the field. Notice he's focusing on probe production. 16 on minerals, 3 on each gas. The Adept there is going to punish that Reaper as it jumps up. Careful. Oh, it jumps to the south and actually only takes 1 hit from that Adept. The Adept couldn't quite reach it. So Adept's going to go out and try to chase it down now. Hasn't remembered to start Warp Gate just yet. He just got the minerals for it. There we go. Beautiful. Nice, clean build order for Maplez. Vindicta, on the other hand, is going to go factory, but straight into second barracks. So this looks like it might be a 3 barracks play, guys, rather than the quick starport. You can't really... Basically, that's the choice you make in TVP, guys. Do you want to go for the quick starport, in which case your second and third barracks go down around 4 to 5 minutes, depending on how many units you're building. And otherwise, you can speed up and get a second or third barracks very early. Vindicta not watching. What's he doing there? Throws the Reaper away. Bit of a mistake for him. Guess he was just not expecting that Adept to chase quite that far. First Oracle is about to hit the field. Extra pylon on the way. Remember, guys, nice rule for playing Protoss. Anytime you build a unit out of your Stargate or your Robo, if that's your first tech structure with a standard opening, always build a pylon right afterwards. And that way you'll avoid the dreaded, the infamous 46 supply block, which... Drop a comment if you guys have been supply blocked on 46 ever before, because anyone who's played Protoss knows that that's basically your best friend. Like, you don't really feel like you're playing Protoss unless you're supply blocked on 46 and going, oh, idiot, why do I always forget this every single time? There's a lot of trauma in my own games that's led to me memorizing that rule. The Marines are taking a fair bit of damage. Oracle takes the lock-on from the Cyclone, but that means the Adepts are left on their own. How many Marines are they going to take out here, guys? Looks like only 2. And an SCV. I mean, it's not too bad. If you get one more SCV, that'd be great. Oh, actually not too bad, guys. That's not bad. I mean, obviously, cost for cost, it's not great. But lowering the Marine count is always good. And at this point, has he seen the 3 racks? He hasn't. Okay, this is it. So he's doing his very standard build. Okay, now he sees 3 barracks and immediately is like, oh god, okay, there could be a giant push coming in the next few minutes. There's going to be so much bio. Even if he waits for stim, shields, medevacs, all that sort of stuff, the push is still just going to have way more Marines and Marauders in it than a normal one, and a few less like medevacs and tanks. But that's really good at killing me. So he's got a Forge and a Shield Battery that he's both built reactively, and he's got only 1 Stargate fleet beacon. Did he cancel a Stargate? I don't know if he canceled a Stargate or not. Maybe he's just delaying because he didn't quite have the money. But it looks like he's just going to go 1 Stargate carrier to start and just start incrementing them out like 1 at a time to begin. Oh my lord. It's so awkward watching 1 carrier and +1 air weapons on the way, but hey, it is what it is, man. He's going for the second gateway at the front and a cannon. Yeah, okay, so he's really turtling up on 2 base. Maples is basically playing the let's make sure I don't die game. And the second Stargate now goes down after starting that carrier. Not bad. He wouldn't have had the gas to make both at once anyway, so fair enough. You'll notice that the gases haven't been mining all that long. These weren't like the 3-minute 30 gases. These were more like the 4-minute 15 gases, I would guess, just based on how much gas has been mined, which is only about 80 off each. That's because he was chronoing so many Adepts and going for that aggressive pressure. Stasis traps going down everywhere. We've got a Void Ray, a Stalker, a Zealot, and a Sentry. And at this point, Vindicta should know what's up. Oh, the Stasis gets set off. Nice move by Vindicta. That Void Ray needs to get out of there. Uh-oh, Maples is in trouble. Oh no, he's going to lose a Void Ray. Oh, but actually the Void Ray does freak out about the Stasis. Pulls back there. Lucky for Maples to keep that one alive. The first medevacs are coming across the map to join up with this push. No third base for Maples going to be allowed to go down here. This puts him in a hard position. But remember, he's still got that Oracle for counterattacks. And nice! The double force field. Oh, beautiful moves there. He loses a few interceptors, but remember, the carrier can easily rebuild that. Wants to pull on back here. Still has battery overcharge available. And Vindicta not really able to kill any important units. And remember, this is very bad trading cost for the Terran. So he's going to try and stim into the cannon. Terran players known for getting very aroused, getting very excited in these StarCraft games, guys. Attacking into battery cannon. 4GG showed us. Remember, guys, Terran's instinct is to see a spiked pit in front of them. And they are the barbarian faction. They will charge at the spiked pit, fall into it, and impale themselves because you said their mum's fat and that their sister's ugly. That's essentially what Maple's build is right now. He's built a ditch, he's filled it with sharp stakes, and he's going, you're fat! You are ugly and your race takes no skill. You know, he's just like really low-key lame insults, but he knows that Vindicta will fall for it. Now, Vindicta may have started to lick his wounds and pulled back a little bit, but let's talk about the transition, guys. He's cut carrier production. Only 1 Stargate's producing. Why? He's gone Robo and Robo Bay on 2 base. He's trying to creep out to a 3rd base, but he's basically saying, okay, you're going to counter my carriers with nothing but mass Marines, Widowmines, and Medevacs, and then eventually go Vikings, but that's later. If I can get a Colossus or 2 out before you get to those Vikings, they are going to destroy your Marines because you don't have any Marauders. So it is like, it's the last thing you'd expect because, guys, as a high-level player, you're accounting for your opponent's gas. You're going, okay, all your gas is in carriers. He attacks his own Nexus to pre-launch the Interceptors. Incredible move there from Maples. He attacked his own Nexus to launch the Interceptors ahead of time, and he focuses down all of the medevacs. Now, he might still lose that base, unfortunately. Yeah, he's got to pull back. Get out of there. Get out of there. I don't think you can fight here. Oh, he's trying to. You know what? The carrier actually tanked a bit of damage, but it looks like he will lose control of that base. He didn't get to pre-launch all of his interceptors. He is going to lose control of that Nexus. Trying to pick off Widow Mines where he can as well. Gets one of them. Doesn't quite get the second one. And that third Nexus will get cancelled. This is going to make this a rather all-in position. He goes for Viagra, cancels it, and says, wait, no, the Colossus is more important. But he's supply blocked. As Maple said, he's not perfect, guys. And after losing the Nexus and the pylons, which he thought he'd be able to defend, massive supply block. This is delaying his Colossus so much. This is literally the sneaky robo transition gone completely wrong. It is not nearly as fast as it could be. I'm sure he's got games where he's already got a Colossus on the field, and he just tries an attack right now. Focus the Marines of the Colossus, A-move the carriers, and just go for the victory, right? I assume he would do that. But, oh, he loses the Oracle as well. And Ghosts are coming out. Ghosts are very good for EMPing those Interceptors as well as those carriers and trying to weaken them. Interceptors have 40 shields, 40 hit points for those who don't know. I don't think they ended up ever weakening those, did they? I think they were playing around with the idea of making the Interceptors a little more fragile. I don't think they went ahead with it. Could be wrong. Let me know in the chat. Marines are stimming back and forwards. Vindictus says, you're contained, idiot. Still hasn't checked for corner bases, but we know that's not the case this time. Oh, okay. I think attack the gateway to pre-launch. He should attack his own gateway or the Nexus. He's going to attack the Nexus. He launches the Interceptors all at once. Running up that ramp may have been a big mistake. The Widow Mine does hit the Zealots, but a lot of Marines going down. He was so afraid of his own Widow Mines. He spent more time spreading his Marines than shooting there. And that's a good little trade because you go back, you rebuild his Interceptors. They're only 15 minerals a pop. They're very cheap. And he's got Viagra and a second Colossus on the way. Surviving on 2 base. I think Vindicta needed to take a third and a fourth here. Vindicta's basically saying, as long as I have critical mass of units, I'm good. Oh! The friendly fire mine! The traitor! The traitor! That Widow Mine! I didn't realize that Widow Mine was that hunchback-looking dude from 300. Oh my god! The Marines and the Ghosts. This is what happens when you do bullying in the workplace. They were like, no, you can't be part of our phalanx, idiot. Your arm's too stupid. You can't hold your shield high enough. You can't hold your rifle up. Hunchback guy's like, come on, guys, I just want to be one of the boys. And they're like, no, idiot. Go get us some food. So then, along comes Protoss, whispering in his ear, using his Kala Protoss psychic magic. And he's like, hey, you want to join us? Well, you could be one of the boys with the Protoss. We hang out, we have lasers, we have a cool time. Just all you need to do, just fire on this one Interceptor and drag it into the middle of the Marines, okay? And the Widow Mine's like, I'm going to be one of the boys. Kills like 20 Marines there, puts them all in the red life, so they all got one shot. Unfortunately, doesn't realize Protoss, they're liars. They kill him right afterwards. Yeah, they were lying. Sorry. Bad luck. Bad luck to the Hunchback Widow Mine there. Okay, here we go. Marines and Ghosts coming down. The Colossus. Oh my god, the Colossus. Roasty toasty. It's barbecue time. And it's like, it's this moment in the game where you really wish you had Marauders. It's this point in the game where you're like, oh, that unit that I was skipping for very good reasons earlier in the game, crap. I need some of those to tank for this Colossus. He's trying to build tanks to deal with it. The Interceptor's coming in. He's got to get away from the Colossus. He's trying to fight it, but oh my god. The carrier's rebuilding Interceptors on the front lines. And Maple's right now, large and in charge. Colossus, carriers, all off 2 base. That is ridiculous. This is kind of brain-breaking. I'm sure people will kind of figure it out, but the fact that he has all these weird variations make this such a ridiculously disgusting build. I feel for the Terran players that are going to have this inflicted on you. We might have to do a video talking about how to beat carriers if this catches on. Either way, I'm probably going to try it as Protoss on the ladder. I'll probably fall apart and fail. Maples is actually doing a lot of fantastic Oracle harass and Adept harass to make this work, but this is really cool. So I look forward to seeing how this goes. If we get any more really fun games as this develops, I'll do an update video on it if you guys want to see that. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you in the next one. If you guys like creative strats, click on one of these other ones on the screen. Check out some other Mape the Ape videos where we see some of his crazy matches. I've got another one that's going to be coming out very soon, in fact, actually. Some really cool games that I will be casting probably later today. Thanks for watching, everyone. See ya.